order. Would you please call the order, call to order, and then the roll call.
Counselor Prom?
Here.
Counselor Creemeyer?
Here.
Counselor Owen?
Here.
Counselor Quimby?
Here.
Counselor Arnold?
Here.
Council President Barton Mullins?
Here, and Mayor Weatherby is excused for the evening. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everybody to please turn off your electronic devices. Okay, let's see, we have the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion? No motion?
So moved.
Move to approve.
Second?
I'd like to make approve with a change.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Just a clarification. During the work session, third paragraph here, third sentence says Councilor Prom remarked village street trees pose a public safety issue as the trees block the street lights. I believe what I meant to say, or did say, in a slight correction, is some placement of some trees could be a public safety issue by blocking street lights.
Okay,
Move to approve with the correction.
Second.
all right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, consent agenda passed. Next, we have citizens wishing to speak on non-agenda items. Ryan Richter. Could you please give your name and address for the record?
Ryan Richter, 2425 Southwest 22nd Street, Troutdale, Oregon. I'm here today on behalf of a business networking group that meets in this room every Tuesday morning. We are a nonprofit group comprised of multiple small business owners that live, work, shop, and operate businesses in and around Fairview. The purpose of our group is to help grow each other's business. We have been privileged to use the room for the past 3 to 4 years at no cost. Many of our members do regularly meet with clients in Fairview for coffee or lunch. We have participated as a group in the chili cook-off, hosted holiday parties, and feel a sense of loyalty to doing business locally. We feel that we are part of the Fairview community. However, the current proposed room use fee of $160 per month does seem excessive for a nonprofit group, especially one whose focus is to help build local small business. We would like to propose a compromise that the rate be set at $80 per month. Please also note that we are flexible and willing to, on occasion, be bumped out of the room if need be. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Richter. Councilor Quimby.
How many people are in your group on an average basis?
Around 20.
Councilor Owen.
I guess, I'm sorry, I didn't catch the name of the group.
It's a GROW, Gresham Referral Organization, Gresham area.
Okay. And I guess, Samantha, could you give some background on how we got to the $160?
I would have to defer that to Devry. She administers the room rentals for the city.
Okay, Devry.
After City Council adopted the new fee schedule, GROW, when we applied that new schedule to their type of meeting and their hours they meet and the frequently they meet weekly, that's where the rate came from. And they are correct that previously, before that policy went into effect, they did not pay per Joe, years ago, did not pay a rental fee.
Right. So I guess, Samantha, since have we sent out a a significant number of letters over the last month? Or is this just kind of a one-off?
No, there were a couple of organizations that were affected with the new policy. It changed a little bit. EME now pays a small fee, but they only rent it once a month. The Reynolds School District is now paying small fees for using it for the board meetings and their leadership team meetings. But the fees are taking the policy that council adopted and applying that policy now to these users.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I guess, I mean, I recall having the conversation. I know we talked about it. We had different types of fee structure based off the type of organization. I was just wondering, is there anybody up here that would think that we need to, discuss it further? I mean, I know that we made a decision, but it just feels a little compelling to me, at least this evening, $160 a month for a group that's trying to generate some economic development, not only within the city, but in East County. Seems excessive, but I'm sure we must have talked about that when we did the fee schedule. So anybody else have any thoughts about that?
160 is not a small fee.
Well, I had a couple thoughts. First of all, I guess, one of the questions that I would ask and to take into consideration is, do we, or does the city are we expending manpower and time, setting up or breaking down any of the meetings? I guess number one.
Yeah, we set up and take down the tables before each meeting, so there's no janitor that's going to come in and have to clean up after us or set up, take down.
Okay, and then I guess my second question would be, what happens if we don't allow or we vote to not approve the fee waiver, or not the waiver, but the reduction from 160 down to $80, and what happens to your organization? Are you guys going to stay here? Are you going to move, or what's your plan of action at that point in time?
We put it to a vote with our members to see if we wanted to stay here and pay the increased amount, or if we prefer to move it to another location.
Okay.
Just a real quick question. You said you were nonprofit?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if that makes a difference for us or not, but Councilor Quimby.
I think that something that we probably missed when we were having our discussion and setting rates who it's going to affect and by how much. We thought we did what was logical at the time, but we apparently didn't pay attention to exactly how many groups it was going to affect and how badly it was going to affect them. So I would be in favor of revisiting this too.
Reynolds School District and EME are for-profit organizations. I certainly thought, and
they're not.
are not for-profit. They're not.
They're not for profit. They're recognized as not-for-profit groups.
Oh, are they? It's nonprofit also.
And Deborah, you mentioned that they pay a small fee, but do you know the dollar figure offhand?
Well, and I apologize, I don't have your application. I'm not quite sure if you are getting the nonprofit rate. I don't know when you submitted your application, if you submitted it requesting the nonprofit rate or not. Because I thought that you were only paying $20 per Tuesday.
Currently, there's no fee.
No, currently Grove has paid. They paid the last 2 months a rental fee.
Oh, prior to that, yeah.
But currently you are correct, there was no fee.
So Samantha, what's the process then to request a fee waiver or a fee reduction?
Right. It would be a written request requesting that, and then that's presented to council for those fee waivers. The policy that you adopted does have 2 separate rates. It has and 2 separate sections. It has for-profit groups, not-for-profit groups. It also has youth-based groups versus non-youth-based groups. The fees are based on which category you fall into and how your how there's also a depending on the number of hours that you utilize the building in any given month, there's a certain amount of hours that are granted for free for nonprofits, and anything over above that are what you're charged for. So that's how we would apply. We would need to give you the full information, we'd need to go back, look at the application, see what fees were applied, what boxes were checked on the application, and verify that everything was marked accordingly and charged that way. So if you would like us to discuss further with these folks, we'd be happy to do that and determine what their fee structure exactly is.
I think we need to do that.
Okay. I guess then, just, based on what I've heard, I mean, I think the right way to do it is to submit a fee waiver request, right? Because we have a policy or rules that say that's what you're supposed to do. The fact that you actually came this evening, you did bring some people with you this evening, to me, constitutes the fee waiver request, even though I guess I'd make a motion to say, submit a fee waiver request, and assuming that you do that, I would make a motion to reduce their fee to $80 per month.
Second?
Second.
I'll second.
Counselor Prom?
I just wanted to, I think the clarification with the nonprofit is GROW is a nonprofit organization, but is not a state-registered nonprofit. And I think our application requests a state-registered nonprofit, and that's the difference. So,
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Thank you. And it passes.
If you could just submit that directly to me, that'd be great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Deborah, did you need a...
Don't forget
To
to
do
submit that fee waiver request, though.
No, I was able to document all I except for Counselor Arnold.
Okay.
But does Counselor Arnold need to state her reason for a no vote? No.
Devery, I should mark me as aye. You should mark me as an abstain because I am a member of GROW.
Okay. Do we have that taken care of then?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Richter. Thank you for being here tonight. Next, Steve Kaufman. And please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Steve Kaufman, 505 Bridge Street in Fairview. Council President Mullins, I would respectfully request this evening that we could perhaps waive the 3-minute time limit. I basically have a short statement on some feelings and perceptions that I have of the way business is being done within our city that I believe is pertinent to the majority of our citizens. I didn't write anything down. I didn't do any notes. I didn't want to make it sound rehearsed. I come here tonight to speak from the heart.
Mr. Kaufman,
Tell
could
you how I
you
feel.
speak closer to your mic,
Yeah.
please? Thank you.
And I'll be quite frank, I'm not sure I can finish in 3 minutes.
All right, well, we'll see how this goes.
Just a brief history. I was born and raised in the Park Rose area. I've lived in, Gresham, Troutdale. I moved out here to Fairview in 1983. Mid-90s, Mayor Weatherby, Peter Twomlow, the market guy, were on our city council. They encouraged me to become involved in the Parks Committee when they first started. Very shortly after that, I saw development beginning along Bridge Street, which interested me greatly. And at that particular time, they had an opening on the Planning Commission. So I figured, what the heck, if they're going to be doing all this on my street, I'd like to be a part of it and at least have a say. That's, just kind of a brief history of my time with the city. I worked with the Heslin House, the Zimmerman House Restoration Funds. I serve on the board of the Coastal Conservation Association, which meets over at Bumpers every other month. I just really enjoy being involved in the community. I'm a firm believer in the fact that we all contribute and build the communities that we live in. That being said, as you all know, I recently submitted a request for public records, and I asked for a lot of emails. Councilor Quimby, I understand, has put a great burden on you as you were, expected to provide an awful lot more. I really appreciate the time and the effort you put in, the amount of documents that you provided, and I'll be quite frank, there's a lot of those documents that if I had had them in my emails, I would have been hesitant to have tried to make those public. All the rest of you, I did receive some emails. Quite frankly, some of the other counselors the amount of emails that I received seemed to be a little small. Councilor Creme, 2 emails in a full month. Now I know I saw emails from other councilors to Councilor Creme, Councilor Prom, Councilor Arnold. And according to the records request, I should have seen emails acknowledging that you had received those, which really leads me to feel that you're not being straight up forward and straight up honest with us, as should be required by city councilors who, elected by the people, are responsible to all 9,000 citizens in this town. The appearance from one that just kind of sits back, and I've been involved in this for 20 years. And the last several months, the appearance of business on our council has been extremely disappointing. It's hard for one sitting outside and watching what goes on here to really believe that a lot of our council business is not being decided and discussed outside of council chambers. I sit and I watch some of these hearings, and I see what I think are some pretty serious issues that move through this room with absolutely zero discussion, almost as if the discussion has already taken place. And coming here and doing the vote is almost a formality. And it's really disheartening for me to see this as much time as I've spent being involved in this process, and as firm a believer as I have become in the open hearing process. I see issues going on where, as somebody on the outside who isn't in here at every meeting, I do watch them on TV quite frequently. If there's something that I'm really interested in, I do come in. But it has the appearance that some of our councilors are here with an agenda and acting in their own best interests, and not in the best interest of the other 9,000 residents in Fairview that put us in these positions. And I guess tonight, I would just like you to understand that, this is the perception that we are seeing. Insofar as that former Senator Matt Wan wrote an article in the Outlook last week that basically described our city council as being dysfunctional. Not in those particular terms. But I would just like to encourage all of you to really open up, become transparent. Make sure that these 9,000 good people out here, because we all want the same things. In reality, we all want to see a Fairview that continues to grow into the future and continues to remain the kind of place that we all want to live and we all want to work and we all want to encourage our friends and our families to come out and enjoy. And I would just urge you to just be really cautious in the way that we do business and make sure that we remain open, we remain transparent, and if that's something that is too difficult, then I would urge that you step down and allow someone who's willing to do that, step in and do that job, because we got a lot of really good people in this town that are really excited about trying to make this place the kind of place that we all want to live and work. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman. Councilor Prom.
Steve, I strongly resent your accusation that I'm less than honest. You got all my emails that you requested. If I get an email from somebody, that doesn't mean I necessarily have a response to them. Okay, I don't acknowledge every email Samantha sends me, or Ken sends me, or Dan, or Steve Owen. You got everything, and I'm really offended that you can make an accusation of dishonesty.
Well, Steve, I guess I'm not saying that you responded or that you failed to respond.
You made an accusation.
What I'm saying is the request was all emails to and from.
And you got those emails.
If somebody sent you an email, I should have seen that email from you as well, acknowledging that you had received it. And
I don't necessarily respond to every email. So how are you going to get an email that acknowledges that I received it. Where is the email trail there if I don't respond to the
I
email?
would assume it's in your deleted box, but
No. I don't delete any of my city emails. They're all there.
in that case, emails to you from any one of these counselors, I should have received, whether you responded or not.
You got everything that the city gave you it. I authorized the city to give you everything email that I ever had that in the parameters that you outlined.
Well, if I'm incorrect, I apologize.
You are incorrect.
But I spent hours and hours and hours going through those emails, and, you know, frankly, there are emails.
What were you looking for?
My original intent
Right. What were you?
was that the perception is that things were being discussed and decided outside of council chambers, and council chambers were just a place to get a vote. And my original intent,
Are you assuming that never before in the city history of Fairview that councilors talked to themselves, to other councilors outside of the meeting?
no, sir, I'm not. All I can tell you is that the perception of a lot of people was that discussions were being held, decisions made, and city council chambers was a place to take the vote and get out of the way. And my original intent when I filed for that request was actually looking for evidence. And when I initially filed that, I was willing to file ethics charges if the evidence was there. In retrospect, and I've been pondering this for a month and a half now. Even if the evidence is there, which it isn't, I do not believe that filing ethics charges and bringing that kind of a thing to our city council, I don't believe it serves any advantage. The only thing I want is for everybody else to feel that we are open, that we're doing the right things, and that we're trying to move this city in the right direction. And that's, at this point, that's all I'm really after. I have no desire to make anybody's lives miserable, to make any enemies, to file any charges.
All right.
So I simply want to make sure that this is out in the open and that we're all aware. And that, there's so many great people in this city that really want to see the city moving forward and, continue to grow. I've lived here for 30 years. I intend to die here. I want to see this place, I want to see this place stay great for as long as I can see it. So.
Councilor Kremeyer.
Well, I'd just like to say that I really resent, your comments questioning my integrity also. You talk about me sending only 2 emails. When the public records request was made to me by Samantha, I told her to go ahead and send out any emails from my City of Fairview email box that had been sent, that had been received. And when emails come in, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when emails come in to my city email, when emails are sent from my city email, they can't be deleted. Or they can be deleted, but they can be they're all archived, and they can be brought back, and they correct?
Yes, email is archived every evening.
So I don't know how you think that, I'm trying to hide something or trying to delete emails when they're archived, and you can ask Samantha if you want to. I gave her my permission to access my city email box to provide any and all emails that were requested. I have nothing to hide, and it's my understanding that the city did so on my behalf. So, and if there were only 2 emails, then there were only 2 emails, because I can't go in there and delete it and not have any record of it.
And if I'm off base, I apologize. I get over
Well, obviously you are off base, Steve, because how can we as city councilors...
You're out of order, Mr. Cooper.
Thank you, Councilor Bart Mullins. We have no way of deleting the emails and not having a permanent record of those, Steve.
Yeah.
So if what you requested was sent to you, we can't. I just don't. I guess I'm just at a loss for words of what you're trying to get at.
If something happened and, we did not get it, all I know is I saw emails sent to you that I felt should have been in the stack that said, Dan received these. And I didn't see those. Now, whether those are archived and weren't pulled up, I don't know. I'm not out to get anybody, guys. You know?
Council,
I'm sorry.
let's continue. Councilor Quimby.
You're right, I did spend an awful lot of time,
I appreciate it.
half a week. I had to dig emails one by one, by code, out of a crashed hard drive. You said you have made a lot of accusations repeatedly that you thought, or somebody who put you up to this thought you are, or that we were conducting business via email outside of the public process. And I think I just heard you say a moment ago that you did not find anything. Is that true?
That is true.
That's true. Thank you.
I could
Councilor
not
O.
find- there is
We
nothing
are
in
not
there.
conducting
There would-
business
there was
via
nothing
email.
in there that would prove
And
that
I
a
sent
quorum
you
of
everything.
council was discussing things in email. That is correct, Ken.
I didn't just stop with your request of city business.
I
I
realize
sent
that,
you every email of everything that transpired between me and every other counselor
and I appreciate that.
for 6 months.
I appreciate that. I understand the time and effort.
And I
you
didn't
went
get
through to
paid for that. And I don't get paid for this, and I also resent what you did because you could have come and talked to any one of us and said, what's going on? There's this public perception. You have the emails, nothing supports any of the accusations.
Councilor Owen.
Well, I guess, just for the record, I don't get paid for this either. I mean, I've been doing this for like 15 years. I mean, I do occasionally get a free dinner, by attending a work session. There's been an occasional few lunch here and there through the years, but from a compensation or pay standpoint, it's probably not something you want to try to make a living at. I mean, to me, where I think this kind of lands here is that, it wasn't that long ago we had another public records request that we all, I assume, provided, email content for. That was the first time, at least in my recollection, not that I remember everything, but it's the first time I recall. If I don't remember it, Ken will remember it. But there was so that's the first time that I recall having, been asked, and then of course this time. So, I mean, I think to me, my takeaway on this is that I try to direct 100% of all of my city-related business through my, Fairview email address. That kind of keeps my work separate, keeps my personal email separate, and I would hope that going forward, as public record requests come in, which we're all obligated to provide content to, would make it a lot easier. And I don't want to get into the debate, and it sounds like Ken went through a whole lot of pain in order to gather some of that information, but that must be because the emails weren't on the City of Fairview email. It must have been his personal email. And so I would just say going forward, I think it makes for all of us a lot easier in the event that another request comes forward. I know that you've got a few people that are probably a little torqued off at you tonight up here because they feel like they've been wronged. But I think what I heard you say is that as you were looking through the emails, you could see that emails were sent to all of us or some of us, and you received part A from maybe someone that sent it, but you didn't receive anything from the person that received it. And so I think all that Steve Kaufman was trying to say is that he feels like he didn't get everything because, when you look at who it all went to, it's kind of a two-way street. You get it coming and going, and he's saying he felt a little shorted on that. That's at least what I'm interpreting that you said tonight. Short of that, as always, Steve, I appreciate the things that you've done for the city. You have been doing the city stuff way longer than I have.
No, just 2 months, dude.
Just, okay, 2 months.
I was on planning commission 2 months when we applied for that position.
But
and they picked you over me
the
with no
history
experience.
goes that, Steve and I both applied for a city council position, an appointed position, I don't know, 14, 15, 16 years ago, something like that. And there were two of us applying, and I drew the short straw and got appointed. But nevertheless, this guy truly has done and continues to do a lot for the city. So as to what was said tonight, or the public records request, or people maybe being a little irritated for one reason or another, I would ask you all just to kind of push that aside, because I think we can all, I'm sorry?
I said no.
Okay, well, I'm talking right now. As soon as I'm done, you can talk. I would just ask, did you have something else to say? I mean, can you show a little bit of respect? I have the
I
floor right now.
understand you
So
do,
can you just
Stephen.
hold down?
You asked me
Can you hold
something.
down?
You asked me something.
So, thank you for what you do. And I know you're going to continue to do it no matter what.
I will.
Thanks.
Okay, I have the floor now. I would like to say that last November was the ugliest election I've ever seen or seen anybody go through. And it was a definite them against us and us against them and on and on. And I feel that we started out the year with all of that baggage. And it's taking us a long time to let it go. But I honestly believe that we're going to get there, that we're all going to be able to work together, we're all going to be able to go to each other's festivals, and that everybody eventually will get along and get over this. That is my hope, and that is my firm belief. I'm sorry it got so ugly tonight, everybody. But it has. So, Mr. Kaufman, thank you very much for being here tonight.
Thank you for your time.
And I think we should just put this to bed.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Darren Warden? Did I pronounce that right, Darren? Reardon, I'm sorry.
My name is Darren Reardon, 871 Northeast Market Drive, Fairview, Oregon. I was a second party to the public records request. I'd like to make one clear distinction. The records request was for all email regarding the topics, not just city email, Councilor Krameyer, as you made a real clear distinction. What we got were pieces of emails that ran across part of city addresses as well as personal addresses. And what we got from the personal addresses was pretty light considering the content. And to Steve Kaufman's point, it was very clear. There's emails flying back and forth between quorums of counselors on topics that are voted on in here. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reardon. All right, let's go on with life. Next. Councilor Quimby.
Darren, I just have one reply to that, and that is we're allowed to discuss. We're just not allowed to make decisions. And I think that the emails reflect that there may have been some discussions, there may have been some opinions, but there was no decisions made. That's the difference. We are not making decisions out of the public view. We make the decisions here in these council chambers.
All right, we're going to change the subject now with Mr. Bob Wade. Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Bob Wade. I live at 1816 Northeast 213. I've lived in Fairview 11 years. My banker's Dan, mayor, lives 2 doors away from me, so I see him every day. I enjoy it. I built my house 11 years ago, and my house is as nice as any house in the neighborhood, and it's as well kept as any house in the neighborhood. My wife works really hard at it. I'm a gearhead. I love cars. I'm always going to love cars. I built my house with a basement underneath that you can drive under the house, and it'll hold 9 cars under the house, and then it has a 3-car garage up above. I retired. But I'm a car guy. I'm going to play with cars. So I immediately got a home occupation business for mail order auto parts and to sell parts out of my house. The lady, Rita Humphrey, I guess we hire her from Gresham to come out and make sure that home occupations are doing what they're supposed to. Well, she came and said she had a complaint that I was working on my cars and that I was selling auto parts. And I said, yeah, I got a business license to do that. And she left, and I thought that was the end of it. Then I got a letter from her. You can't do this. And not only that, she said that the occupational license I had was done incorrectly, that it had to be mail order only, and I couldn't sell parts out of my house at all. And on the City of Fairview home occupation permit, it's got the question, are you going to sell out of your house? And I wrote, yep, I'm going to sell auto parts out of my house. My business is small. I'm retired. I'm just playing with my cars, and I got my Mustangs. I keep my garage doors closed all day because if I don't, it gets hot, and in the winter it gets cold. But being underground like it is, if I keep the garage doors closed, 60, 70 degrees, no matter what it is outside. Anyhow, she said that the city laws were such that I could not have home-based auto parts, and that the occupation permit was incorrect, and that I couldn't do that anymore. I sell parts to 4 guys a week. There's no cars outside of my house. Lots of houses have way more car stuff around their house than I do my house, and I'm not saying that they have a business at all. But mine is kept very, very neat and tidily. And basically what I'm saying is maybe we need to not have it such a strict law that you can't sell out of your house. I don't know, make it so that you're only allowed to sell 20 things a month out of your house, or something to keep it so that the city can live with it. But her attitude, I mean, she sent me a letter about it, and she hadn't even checked to see whether I had a business license at all. I mean, she visited me, I told her I had a business license, she left. A week or so, 2 weeks later, I got a letter sending me an application for a business license.
Mr. Wade, let's see if we can take care of this. Sam, what do you suggest?
I would love to get that information from you, and then Alan, our Public Works Director, actually oversees code enforcement, who is what Rita does. She's our code enforcement. And she would have issued that based on what our code says, because that's what she's hired to do, is to enforce our code.
Okay.
So we would need to have some further discussion on what that code language is saying. So I would defer this to Alan to follow up on with Mr. Wade.
All right, Alan?
I'm familiar with this.
Oh.
Quite frankly, Lindsay made an error on the form. She checked a box and she thought she should have checked.
I see.
That's what it is. I know exactly. I know all that.
All right. And you will speak with Mr. Wade then. Thank you very much, Mr. Wade. Hope we can get this taken care of for you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else before we go on tonight? Seeing none, thank God. Let's continue to City Administrator and Director reports.
Good evening, Acting Presiding Officer, Council President Bart Mullins, and councilors. I only have a few updates for you this evening. I encourage all of our citizens to go check out Park Cleone. The playground equipment is not quite playable yet. We've had a small snafu with getting those chips out there. But Alan is working on it. So we'll keep you updated, but it looks like at this point it'll be the 27th of August, I believe, that we will have chips out there and we'll be able to pull those fencings down and allow children to go have a great time. So, and I'd like to publicly recognize our 2 counselors who spent hours and hours on Friday and Saturday working on this play structure. And I know Councilor Quimby will have more to share on that later, but I do want to publicly recognize your efforts on that. The other item that I wanted to, that I needed to alert you to, but I got to find my paperwork, We do have Fairview on the Green is happening this Saturday, so I do want to encourage our citizens to go out again and enjoy another fabulous event in Fairview. I did issue a temporary liquor license to Stagecoach Saloon, who will be hosting the beer garden at the event for the Fairview on the Green, and I have waived the park rules for not allowing alcohol in the park. So alcohol in the park will be allowed in Fairview Community Park only on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. only. Those will be the only times it'll be allowed, those are to coincide with the timing of the event as well. And those are all the updates I have for you at this time. If you have any questions for me, please let me know.
I see none.
Okay, the only director who has a report this evening is Chief Johnson. The other directors are here if you have questions for them as well.
Okay, thank you. Chief Johnson.
And thankful I'm only up here to make a report. I just want to acknowledge, and I'm actually glad that Pooja's here because I wanted to acknowledge Devry, and I specifically wanted to acknowledge Officer Pooja Singh for the great work that they did in organizing and putting together National Night Out. I thought, again, it was an extremely successful event. Probably one of the nicest things that occurred that night was the number of vendors and other agencies, the feds, FBI, DEA, and all the folks that came by and said, this is by far the best National Night Out in the county. And they'd been to all of them. And so it was really encouraging. I thought we completed our mission of bringing the police and the community together to promote crime prevention. We gave away a number of bike helmets, coupons for free bike helmets to kids that were in need, and we gave away a whole bunch of free identification kits for the potential for lost children, so they can take it home, fingerprint, DNA, put it away, and hope to goodness they'll never need to use it. But if they do, it's an extremely valuable tool. I also would like to ask you to mark your calendar. We set a tentative date today. I haven't even told the troops about it yet, or Sam. We're looking at a long overdue awards program that will be October 30th. That's a Wednesday, 4 o'clock in the afternoon here in the council chambers. And we want to do this before November 1st when Mike Morton leaves and retires from us. And there's a special award that night that'll be the highest award we've ever given. I hope you can all attend. And unfortunately, we're doing it in the afternoon as opposed to the evening because of the costs, reducing costs and not having a catered event. It'll just be coffee and cake. And then I just want to let you know that we're in the middle of extensive background investigations on reserves. We have probably 5 really strong candidates scheduled for psychological exams the first week of September, which will complete the background phase. We hope to put 3 to 4 reserves in the Regional Reserve Academy at the end of the month, end of September. And then we're also processing an experienced reserve from Jervis that actually lives over here and would like to transfer over, and so we're doing his background. So a lot of things happening, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I don't see any questions tonight. Thank you, Chief. Okay, we're done. All right. Mayor and committee reports and council comments. Let's start with Councilor Arnold tonight.
Thank you, Councilor Barton Mullins. On August 8th, I attended the East Metro Economic Alliance presentation. They had a regional, where Corky Miller and Mark Garber talked about the Regional Infrastructure Enterprise Business Plan. They did a presentation on that. It's a part of a community investment initiative, and this initiative is a coalition comprised of private and community leaders. The coalition's charge is to support the region's economy by investing in infrastructure to create living wage jobs, spark economic development, and private investment. REI is meant to fill in the gaps in our region's infrastructure and project delivery systems by working with private sector and local governments to invest in a variety of projects. They have 4 projects that they are looking at here in the near future, hopefully by September. Unfortunately, none of them are here in the city of Fairview, but certainly something to keep our eyes on as to what our neighbors are doing and how EME is working to create some economic development. perhaps we could tag along on that. I attended the Arts and Community Events Advisory Committee earlier this week. The committee welcomed a new member, Kathy Forsythe. This is her first meeting, and she brought some great ideas and fabulous energy to the group. So welcome, Kathy, and thank you for your volunteerism. I am pleased to report that this committee is off to a great start. They only met 4 times, and they've already produced their first event, which was the Storybook Parade, and they held that on August 15th. While participation was low, the feedback that I got was very positive, and the committee was excited and looking forward to putting on the event in the future. They talked about ways to enhance it for future events. The committee is currently collaborating with the Eagles on a Veterans Day event to be held at Smith Memorial on Saturday, November 9th from 8 to 11. Just a note to my fellow counselors and to our viewing audience is that they could use assistance with an adult color guard. They've been running into a bit of resistance on that. So if anybody has any contacts out there, we would really appreciate that. The committee recommended the implementation of a standing volunteer resource pool. This would allow the committees to connect with citizens that are interested in volunteering their time for special events for the city. DevRay will be working on updating the city website and creating a database of volunteers. So that was a great idea, and we're looking forward to more community volunteers. And speaking of volunteerism, I know that Fairview on the Green is this weekend, and I'm really looking forward to attending. And for those folks that are here from Fairview, Friends of Fairview, please let me know if there's anything at all that you need or any way that I can help. I would love to be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Quimby.
As Samantha stated, the playground equipment is in, subject to some final details. I did spend all day Friday and all day Saturday turning wrenches, putting that stuff together. It's a phenomenal piece of equipment, a great play structure. To the best of my knowledge, it's probably the second biggest in East County, second only to Imagination Station at Reynolds. It's gonna attract a lot of kids, and it's just the beginning. During the month of September, the Park and Recreation Advisory Committee is going to be updating a master plan for upgrading the rest of the park. This was just part 1. It occurred because I asked to fast track the equipment because what was there was pulled out of the park last July. And we went through a process, took a long time. It's a lot of staff changes over the years, and the recreation master plan that had been adopted in August of 2002 kind of fell by the wayside. We had system development charges money set aside. We got busy with Fairview Woods Park and the Salish Ponds Park upgrades, and so things just kind of got put on the back burner, and kids didn't have any playground equipment there for 13 months. We went through a survey process that pretty much mirrored what we ended up with a survey process back in 2001 and 2002. Population didn't drop at the grade schools, so I pushed a little hard, upset a few people, but we have a great Park and Recreation Committee in place, and we're moving forward at a substantial pace on what we plan to do to upgrade our parks, and the majority of that is going to be play structures for the kids. Back in 2001 or 2000, one of our council goals that I suggested was that we add more recreation to our Park and Recreation plan, and so that's kind of what we did. It got written up in a plan, but it's been slow to adopt. There's been money built up over the years, and we started spending it, and we're going to get stuff done in the parks as best we can. And I invite everybody to go down to Park Leon and take a look at what we just put in this last weekend, because it's phenomenal. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, let's start with Councilor Prom.
Okay, I got a lot of thanks here. First of all, I'd like to echo what the chief said. National Night Out was tremendous. It was, I thought it was really successful. I'm glad we brought that back this year. I want to give accolades to Ken for pushing so hard, for Councillor Quinby, I should say, for pushing so hard on the Park Cleon structure in driving that forward, I think, and for Alan and for his part too in getting the directors to help. So I appreciate that. That's really a big success, I think, for the city of Fairview. Storybook Parade. I'd like to publicly thank the Sherry Fox Hames for doing a lot of the organizing on that and bringing together more volunteers than participants, which was which is quite good. She even buttonholed me there to do a little crossing guard. I hear the bite of East County was very successful. My team was there, and they said they were very busy even after it started downpouring. So that's a great success, and I'm looking forward to Fairview on the Green this Saturday. Another good event for our city. So all good stuff.
Thank you. Councilor Kremeyer.
First thing is, don't want to sound like a broken record here, but definitely kudos to Poonja. She did a great job with National Night Out. She even talked me into partaking in the pie eating contest, and I think Samantha has some video of that. And needless to say, I had a pretty bad stomachache for about 2 days from that banana cream pie. The other thing is, we did not have a meeting this month for EDAC. It was canceled due to lack of participation because the schedules were just too conflicting, so we didn't have a meeting for that. And then the Bite of East County, I think it was a really good success for the first annual or inaugural event. All the vendors that were there, the food vendors, seemed to be, happy with the amount of food that they sold and what was purchased, and I think overall it went well, other than the rain the last hour and a half or so of the event. But look forward to doing it again next year, and I wish nothing but success this weekend with the Fairview on the Green and the Chili Festival. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilor Owen.
Well, Chief, I wasn't able to attend National Night Out, but I had feedback from a number of my neighbors. So some folks actually from the north side of the city participated this year, and they said it was a really good event. So, and that's, of course, already been mentioned here. The other thing tonight, I know tonight's been a little rough, maybe. Sometimes these meetings get a little rough from time to time, and I just wanted to kind of reiterate to Steve Kaufman, to at least thank him for coming, saying at least, from the heart, and what he felt he needed to say. And I'm sure we'll have more encounters, and things will come up from time to time, and we're all under a great deal of scrutiny up here as it relates to how we not only conduct our personal business, but how we conduct city business. And I think it's just a sign of the times. We've already been, this is our second round of public records requests, and I'm sure there'll be more.
No, there won't.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I think it's going to be pretty hard to predict. They won't unless you have a way of controlling that.
Oh, I don't know. Are you done?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'd also like to thank Pooja for the National Night Out. It was fabulous. We had a lot of fun, a lot of stuff there for the kids to do, which was great. Really, really enjoyed it. I was very pleased with the turnout. I went to the East County Bite, had a good time, had some good food. I left just as it started to downpour, and unfortunately it really downpoured the last hour and a half or so. I heard a lot of positive feedback. The only negative feedback I heard was that the band, they felt sorry for the band being clear out past, I don't know, in the grass somewhere, and they wanted to, I don't know, sit up and watch the band, and they just felt it was awkward. But I thought the bands were great. I could not only hear them from the Bite itself, but from my home, so I got to enjoy that all day. As well as Councillor Quimby, I also was at the playground helping to put together. I was there Friday and Saturday as well. In fact, I brought my granddaughter with me on Friday, and she had a fabulous time. She's only 8, and tried to show her a little bit of community service and what that meant. There's a few other people that were there and worked very hard and have not been recognized. And I would like to recognize one of the deputy directors from Fairview Elementary, Sophia Schrader, and her parents were there helping out, and we appreciate that. And as well as just a family that goes to Fairview Elementary, Lydia Vasquez and her children, Noel and Francisco. Also, Saturday, I believe Barb Jones was there for many hours helping out. Appreciate that. And Steve Kaufman was there all day Friday and all day Saturday. Also, nope, just Saturday. All day Saturday helping out. And it was kind of brutal. The sun was really beaten down and it was hot, but it looks beautiful. Darren, were you there? On Friday? Oh, okay. Well, Darren and his wife were there. Thank you. I didn't catch up with you. Sorry. But thank you for being there. Appreciate it. We stopped by there last night because we were told it was going to be finished and opened. We're really disappointed to see that it was still all enclosed, but Stephanie, the project manager, said, of course, it's better to be safe than open it when things aren't quite ready. So looking forward to next Tuesday, and hopefully we'll come back and see it all done and all together. And thank you very much, Councillor Quimby, for pushing this through and being such a help. Other than that, let's see, we've got the chili on the green this weekend. I'm looking forward to that. That's all I have tonight.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Ooh. All opposed? All right, we are adjourned.
The Oregon Public Health Institute and the Oregon City Student.
Oh, yeah.
Very good job. Made it through it.
Gosh, you should have shown that.